Good evening, everybody. David Anderson here, joined by Ryan Thompson, and we are back for another really fun start to a season of GT3 Sprint Racing here at Champion Motorsports. Ryan, how are you this evening?
I'm doing fine, David. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, and man, I tell you what, we took a little bit of a break, it feels like, for what, 30 days or so, maybe not even, and we've got 50 guys here tonight, ready to get out there and over 50, rub elbows.
Yeah, we got a jam-packed grid again.
Yeah, really excited about it. It's this is a big week for iRacers. Ryan and I just coming on the air here. The guys are all about to get started with qualifying, but we've got by my count close to 60 cars here tonight. If I'm seeing that properly, Ryan. Is that the same as what you're viewing on the grid here?
Yeah, we're in the 50s for sure.
Yeah, and it's obviously a lot to be excited about. For this week, there's the start of the season for our group. We've got another phenomenal schedule Wednesday nights for the next 8 to 10 weeks or so. We've got the iRacing 12 Hours of Sebring is coming up this weekend. So that is going to be really cool. And I think we're all just super excited to be here at Sebring. The big race was on TV last week, and these guys are getting ready to qualify. One of the first cars coming out of the pits here is Tim Collier, who we see in the GT3 car. So Ryan, tell me, what if anything to expect to be different this season? Are we pro and am again? The numbers of 200 and above the amateurs. Anything we want to set up for anybody that may be joining us on the viewership for the first time?
Yeah, we are keeping things very similar to last season. So, as you mentioned, we do have two classes that are running, same cars, but we're running a pro class and an AM class. And we have sort of balanced those based on last season's results as much as we could. So we're expecting to see a pretty good, separation of talent between the two classes. But of course, there will be overlap. Not everybody's going to have the perfect race every time. So some people are going to finish ahead. Some AM drivers will finish ahead of some pro drivers, and we expect that.
Right.
But we have full registrations this season. We just had to close registrations today to make sure that we're going to have grid spots for everybody that wants to race. So expect big grids, lots of action, but similar format to last season. So 60 or 75-minute races the whole season long. Drivers will have one faster pair for every race, and fuel has been adjusted, same as last season, but it's adjusted such that everybody will have to make at least one stop.
All right. Okay. So yeah, that will certainly make things entertaining and exciting. And last season, coming off of really some great battles in both the pro and the AM class. Maybe to just look back on that quickly, we had Michael Parker ended up winning the championship in the pro class narrowly over Miguel Colon. I see both of those drivers back here in this race, getting ready to go at it again. Chris Brunnemer, JT Tammy, and Chris Hudson kind of rounded out the top five in the points. In the AM class, we had Stephen Yanni took the championship narrowly over Nick Kuhn. That one was really exciting. If you remember, Ryan, we were calling it at the end there at Daytona, trying to see if Nick was going to have enough positions over Steven to take that, but Steven narrowly held on to the championship in the AM class.
Yes, he did, and earned himself a spot in the pro class this season.
Interesting you point that out. So we'll have some drivers. How does that work? Is that a voluntary thing, or do we have drivers that we're moving from one to another as an administrative team?
Yes, we took a look at all the standings from the last season and moved some drivers, mostly from AM to pro, but we had a couple that moved from pro to AM, just to keep everybody as competitive as we can.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And one of the things that Ryan mentioned for anybody that tunes in is that, you know, even though we've got a waiting list and, or we're starting one, which is, we certainly don't want to turn anybody away from racing, and we're optimistic that anybody that does want to join us, that we'll be able to work you in. With any series, there's always a little bit of drop off, or folks can't make it, from one week to the next. But yeah, I think what we really like about this series is that it's just such a community-driven series. Drivers generally kind of know where they should be placed. Pro versus am. There's always somebody to race, which is just terrific, and it's exciting. So we're starting to see some times come in here. Ryan, a few guys kind of getting some laps in here. So we'll see kind of what it looks like. It looks like some of the usual suspects out on top of the leaderboard. Here's Michael Parker. Looks like Michael has moved to the Audi this season. That's a change for him, I believe, from the Lamborghini, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so we've got 3 drivers right now. Michael, Victor Tanaka, who you see here in the Lambo, and Christian Youngwall, who we see here. Christian, the provisional pole sitter, also in an Audi. So I'm wondering if the drivers know something we don't, Ryan.
Well, there was a BOP update just pushed in this latest update from iRacing that did penalize the Lambo pretty heavily.
Interesting. And now, is the BOP that are we doing anything specific or adopting like the 12 hours of Sebring BOP, or is it just kind of open? How are we handling that here at CMS?
We are just in lockstep with whatever iRacing does.
Yeah, okay. So riding along here with Christian Youngwall on his second lap. It is private qualifying. Everybody gets 2 laps, I believe. Keep me honest on that. Ryan.
That's right, 2 laps in 10 minutes.
Yep, so they got 10 minutes to get a lap in. Christian, who we're riding along with, holding a really pretty line here. He's got a 59.4. That's about 3/10 ahead of everyone right now, so looking really strong. Let's see if he can better the time, if he gets a faster lap on with a little bit of heat in the tires. Looking pretty good here. We'll watch him come around sunset. Car looks really stable there, as stable as you can be.
Around that very bumpy set of corners.
He was on he was coming in. So here is Joshua Burke that we're riding along with now. Joshua, the reason I'm on him, he is the fastest AM driver at the moment. And this is a new name to me. I don't know that I know Joshua. Ryan, was he with us last season? I think
he
maybe
he was with us.
Okay.
Yep.
See what he does here as he kind of comes through some of the twisties. I want to take a quick look and see where he was in the standings last season. Looks like he finished in 17th, but didn't make all the races. Looked like he made maybe 3 or 4 races and was not able to participate all the time. But let's see if he's going to pull a lap off here. Looks like he is. Currently in 10th overall. A little slower on his second lap, so it's right on with, looks like Stephen Yanni. Maybe he is done. I wanted to see, that's our championship leader from last season. There are still a few cars out on the track. Here's JT Tammy, who we love to talk about.
Great to see him still wrestling that Ford around.
Absolutely, and same livery and everything. He just kind of went with the classic paint scheme on this thing. And I'm thinking that, JT, a second season under his belt in this car, has got to bode well for him and not the competition. He's, really one of our pro, by the true sense of the meaning, pro drivers. He's got some real-world motorsport experience. He's been sim racing pretty much his entire adult life. He runs on our Champion Motorsports pro team. So this is a high caliber driver that Ryan and I expect to hopefully get an opportunity to talk to, in a few of these races.
Absolutely. And I think what we saw from JT last season was that the Ford initially gave him a little bit of trouble. Just it's a beast of a car to drive, but once he got it tuned in, as we would expect from JT, he was a force to be reckoned with.
It really was. And he moved up, looks like about 21st place right now. DJ Alessandrini looks to be on a hot lap. He's currently in 5th. DJ, coming off of a win on Sunday here at CMS in the Porsche Cup Series at Laguna Seca. So this is a high I rating driver, 6,000 KI rating, member of CMS. Doesn't get to race with us all the time, but when he's here, he's always going to be competing for the win. Let's see if he can take over the pole. Doesn't look like it. Looks like just about everybody, Ryan, from what I can tell, slowed down on their second lap. David Nelson here, one of the last cars out on the track. David currently in 39th position. Looks like he might have escaped out right as I started talking about him. He got scared when you and I started talking. So, okay, I've got the order here for qualifying, and we will kind of do a quick rundown. We've got Christian Youngwall will be on pole. Outside, front row will be Victor Tanaka. They will be followed by series champion coming off season 1. That's Michael Parker. So Michael will be lined up front as usual. You can see the car starting to take the grid here. Miguel Colon right alongside Michael. Those two just can't seem to separate themselves from each other. That's going to be another hell of a battle. I know those have got to be the guys to beat, right? They finished out on top last season, and so that's our first 2 rows. If we go back a little bit further, Scott Kennedy ended up taking the pole in the AM class with a terrific run, 8th position overall, actually, for Scott. And Scott's another driver to watch. Ran with us some last season, and I don't think he was able to make all the races, but when he was there, in the couple that he ran, he's been strong. And I know that he's been running in a few different things here at CMS a little bit. So shout out to him for a nice run. And Joshua Burke will be the second place starter in AM in 12th position overall. So I'm showing 58 cars, Ryan. 58 cars going around this bad boy tonight.
Fantastic.
That's got to be close to a record for a race at CMS.
Yeah, I think that's just about what we had for race 1 last season. It'd be very, very close.
Yeah, it's just phenomenal. Here at Champion Motorsports, we've got so many terrific, and we'll have to make sure I'm pulling up the Twitch here in case there's anybody's out there that you and I can chit-chat with or comes by, Ryan. So you'll have to help me monitor for that. But I tell you, anytime we can get this type of field in one of our events, it just makes us feel phenomenal, about the engagement in the community. And I just love to see it. I can remember about 15 years ago, we had an Indu Racers mod race with R Factor 2, and we had about 53 drivers, and that was just like, I still remember that race.
Right.
Because it was like a pinnacle. We had arrived at that point, so it looks like we're getting ready to go here pretty quickly. It's a short pace lap, and they're going to fan out 5 wide here going down the front stretch. Christian Youngwall's kind of out of position on the outside, but able to hang on to it, and he'll lead us through the first couple of corners. Fairly clean start up front. I see some issues in back. We'll come back to that in just a second. DJ Alessandrini's moved up to 3rd position. Victor Tanaka, Mikel Colon, Michael Parker. Could throw a blanket over him here, Ryan.
Yes, we could. A pretty tiny one.
So we did have a couple of issues here at the start of the race, unfortunately. I'm going to go back and here in just a moment, and we'll see what we can pick up on a few of these things. But there's so much happening that I'm just going to kind of let it catch up to me a little bit before we can kind of start going back. We will try to cover some of the major issues for you all. We're riding along here with DJ Alessandrini right now in second place, but boy, Christian Youngwall, Ryan, has jumped out to almost a 2-second lead here. So he is not messing around. And I think we have found in this series as well that getting out front and having that clean air and that space is, for these fast guys up front, it means everything.
Yeah, and then you can just hopefully get a couple of clean laps in, pull that gap while the other guys fight it out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so a few issues here. It looks like, unfortunately, we had a few drivers. So it looks like Tim Collier here. Let's go back. Tim looks like he's in an accident and off track. Oh, and man, I don't know what. Tim got off, and then he had kind of nowhere to go, came back on, collected the GT40. So when we know we have two GT40s in the race, Ryan. Looks like David Slee was involved in an issue. Here's David, kind of limping around the track, damaged. Didn't see what happened to David, but let's see if we can get a look at the car. Yeah, that doesn't look good, Ryan. He was obviously involved in something. They must have stacked up there at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't think we saw what happened there.
Yeah, David James. Let's see. David James was in some trouble. This is David. And he got off. He reacted to the crash with Tim Collier. So it looks like that may have had some residual effects. David is running again. And we'll go back up front here where they have spaced out a little bit. We've got Christian Youngwall up front, DJ Alessandrini in second. We ride along now with Victor Tanaka. Go back a position to John Majorbanks and Michael Parker, and it's really, really tight. I mean, look at these guys coming down the straightaway here, Ryan.
Looks like a pace lap, just faster.
It sure does. These Audis look to be strong. Boy, they're using every inch of that track coming off Sunset. This is John Majorbanks that we ride on with. Michael Parker looking on his inside. Let's see if Michael's going to make the move. He wants to, but John pinches him off. Paul Darling in the race. We haven't seen Paul out here with us, I don't think, since Magny Cours. And if you remember, and that maybe he was at Road Atlanta as well last season, but with Paul, we'll ride along with him. Remember there was a race, Ryan, we covered here with this driver where he moved up about 30 positions in the race.
Oh, I do remember. That was really, really good.
Looks like we got a couple of guys rooting some folks on. Two Bros, shout out to them. It's like Derek on the chat with us, and Wesley's on. Wants the Dog Bear guys to do well. Yeah, boy, sure hate to hear that. Sounds like Wesley's out with a knee replacement. Tell you what, that Dog Bear team is strong, so expect that they'll be doing well.
Yes, hope the knee replacement goes well for you, Wesley.
Yeah, and you can get back out here with us as quickly as possible. Boy, Paul Darling really wrestling his Ferrari here. Giving chase to John Majorbanks. John, pleasant surprise to see John up ahead of him in fourth position. I think this is one of the better runs we've seen out of him early in a race. I'm not sure where John finished in the points last season, but being up ahead of Paul Darling and Michael Parker is no small feat, if you will.
Certainly not. We've got some Richard Hibbs fans in the audience, and possibly another Richard Hibbs fan, or could be Richard McClure. Not sure.
Well, let's find those guys. Give them a little. Let's give the fans what they want here. Here's Richard Hibbs. We're gonna get with Richard. We'll talk about both of them here. So Richard Hibbs right now running in 16th position. Looks like Richard might have a little bit of damage on the front of his car, Ryan. I can't tell for certain. Could be a paint scheme related thing, but he's right behind JT Tammy, who we talked about. This is Richard. Let's take a look at the outside of the car here. It's clean. I don't see any issues.
Yeah, it's looking all right.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed having Richard race with us, too. He's just been a phenomenal member of the community for several years now. And great to see him back out here. Hopefully we'll have him with us throughout the season. So let's give Scott Kennedy a little bit of love. This is our leader right now in the AM class. So started from pole. This is Dog Bear, who we know we have some fans for. This thing looks badass. Look at this red. I mean, this is like a big American flag kind of scheme on this car. I love it. This thing could win a contest.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
And they've made full use of the new spec maps. Looks amazing.
Yes, they have. Let's get in here on this thing and really focus on it. I love the shade of blue that goes along with it as well. So Scott off to a really good start. 8th position overall and ahead of quite a few pro drivers who you and I both know personally, Ryan, are not easy guys to be in front of. Scott right now is ahead of Chris Hudson. He's ahead of Mark Nister. He's ahead of Drew Litke. Those are just the 3 drivers immediately behind him. Any 3 of those drivers capable of winning a race on, any given night.
Definitely.
So Scott currently in first position in the AM class. We go back a little bit further, about 4 or 5 seconds back here in the Ferrari is, in the Audi is Joshua Burke. So Joshua about 4 positions on the track behind Scott. Actually, the 3 drivers we spoke about, Chris Hudson, Mark Nister, and Drew Litke, are the 3 pro drivers that are separating these 2 physically on the track at the moment. So, Ryan, I think we've had an issue here. Looks like an accident here possibly with, oh no. This is Stephen Yanni.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Boy, you feel in that moment like you go from hero to zero. He comes off the championship, nothing could go wrong, and this has got to be coming into the pits for a fast repair, I'm thinking.
Yeah, that was a pretty hard one.
Yeah, the other issue I'm seeing is that I want to go back is Miguel Colon has had a problem. Here's Miguel. Oh, so these are 2 guys that were front runners in each of the 2 respective classes last season. Both of them have been to pit road. Look at Miguel crab walking the car. This is not good. This is a new ride for Miguel too. We normally see him in a BMW, if I'm not mistaken. This car's in dire straits right now.
Oh yeah. Pretty nerve-wracking doing the crawl back to the pits in a grid of 58 cars.
Yeah, that's not a good situation at all for Miguel. He's going to have to get to pit road. He's going to have to get this thing cleaned up and get back out there and just try to have a recovery drive. That's kind of what happened to him at Spa, if you remember, last season in the first race. And he didn't give up. Ended up driving back through the field and I want to say had a top 20 finish and that set him up to compete for the championship. So back up front, though, here with Christian Youngwall, 58 car field, but he doesn't seem to be in the least bit worried about it, does he?
No, he's just running his line by the looks of it.
Yeah, fastest car on the track. What else do you need, right?
Yeah, plenty of gap behind him. He's not worried about anybody making a move for quite a while.
Yeah, so what are we going to see? What's the fuel limit? Is it uniform for each race, Ryan, or are we talking about, you guys are setting that track by track? When are these guys going to have to be on pit road tonight?
Yeah, we've set it to just 85% of max across the board, so there'll be a little variation from track to track, but it will mean that there will be one pit stop, at least, well, one in each race, unless somebody has a problem.
Right.
So we'd see the pit window open up, really, from about now. You get about, well, maybe not quite yet. You get about 40 to 50 minutes on a tank. So we'd see the pit window open up in probably about 10 minutes at the earliest.
Yeah. Looks like we've had another issue here. Jason Lundy appears to have had an issue. Oh boy, car right around in front of him. I believe that might have been Kevin Ayers. It was, it's the Dog Bear car off. And Kevin got collected in it. Oh, boy. Man, let's back this up a little bit. I want to see what happened here. It looks like the Dog Bear car right in front of him. It just lost it.
Yeah, he was a passenger at that point.
Yeah, Kevin had nowhere to go there. And just not a whole lot he could do there. It's a busy track, and it can be slippery out here at Sebring, as bumpy as it is and everything. So you've got to know kind of how, what the limit of the car is, and if you find that limit, don't go over it, or things can get haywire here. There's a lot of hard barriers around this track.
Yes.
So a few cars, we talked about a couple of cars, Ryan, that had trouble earlier. Let's check in on them, see how they're doing. Here's Tim Collier, currently in 56th position. Looks like Tim got back out there, but he does not look 100%. He looks slow, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just pulled over, letting everybody past here.
Yeah, so Tim's obviously been to the pits and gotten his fast repair. He's back out here with us now. Here's Miguel Colon, who we talked about and saw earlier coming through Sunset. Miguel in 55th position had issues, but is running again. And similar for Stephen Yanni. Here's Stephen Yanni, who we saw take a really hard hit on the wall. And, Ryan, this is where I like what we're doing and what we've kind of always done here at CMS, where we want to keep things in the spirit of fun, and we don't want to see Stephen or Tim or Miguel have to hang it up after 5 minutes in the race. So everybody gets a fast repair.
Yes. Yeah, we realize that, stuff happens. Hopefully it won't, but if it does, we don't want it to necessarily end your race immediately.
Yeah, we want to give out, we still want drivers to drive as if they didn't have it, because having to use it means you're going to have a tough night no matter what, right? But at least it gets you back out here on the track, kind of like the issue we saw with Kevin Ayers a little bit ago, where he really had nowhere to go when the Dog Bear car spun in front of him. And so Kevin will be able to know that he can get back out on track. In fact, here he is. He's back out on track with us, and he'll be able to salvage what he can in the night, right?
Yeah.
What do you say we do a quick rundown? Maybe hit the top 5 in each class here. Let's start with the AM guys. Scott Kennedy still out front, Ryan. My new favorite paint scheme. I love this thing. Look at this. Sarge's place. So I wonder if there's a military tie to Scott.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Sergeant Hulk, Big Toe or something from Stripes. There's a lot of stripes on this car.
There are indeed.
So Scott currently out front, looking really strong here. In second position, by the way, Scott has moved up to 7th overall. We go back to no change in the order, and on the same straightaway is Joshua Burke. They're running similar lap times. So this is Joshua back in second position right now in the AM class. We go back a little bit further, Chad Dick in third place. So here's Chad in his Porsche. Have really enjoyed having Chad race with us. He came over, Mark Nister's one of our more seasoned members at CMS, and he, thanks to Mark, a shout out to him, he brought several of his buddies to race. That's the way you want to do it, Ryan.
Oh yeah, the word of mouth that we've got at CMS is second to no other community I've been a part of.
Yeah, and I know Chad was with us this past weekend on Sunday in the Porsche Cup Series at Laguna Seca, and so he's gotten right back on the saddle after that race, and he's here tonight, which is great. Here's a driver I love seeing in 4th position, right behind Chad, by the way, and the car that makes us the hungriest for coffee and donuts. That's Anthony James. One of our favorite people.
Yes.
Nobody cooler than Anthony. For those of you maybe don't know Anthony or haven't had the opportunity to hear his story, he is a road racer converted from NASCAR, and I'm not talking about just sim racing NASCAR. He is a real-world NASCAR driver from his day. He's now since retired from driving professionally, but AJ can still, once a racer, always a racer, and has turned quite a few laps in, I believe, the Grand National Series in NASCAR and other supporting series. He's an East Coast driver. Places like Lime Rock Park are special to him, I believe, and he's been with CMS now about 10 years as well. So he's great to see him up here in the top 5 in the AM category tonight. It's good to see one of the old guys up front.
Yeah, definitely. Makes me feel like there's hope.
Yeah, and and the other thing here with AJ is 19th position overall. 19th, but I mean there's 58 cars here, right? So this is a really solid run, and I'm glad to see AJ's doing well because he is going to be driving with me upcoming in the MTech Series April 1st. We will be at Sebring in this same Lamborghini. We won't have the Dunkin' Donuts livery, but perhaps we should. But we will definitely be driving with AJ. Myself and him will get to share the car as well as a couple other guys, and I'm super excited about it. Right behind AJ is Liam Park. So, Ryan, this is another driver. It seems like Liam has just, every time we do a race, we're talking about Liam in the top 5 in an AM category, it feels like.
Yeah, he's been really, really scrappy, able to make up these positions and finish strong.
He has. He's had a little bit of bad luck in some of the races, but he's hung in there, right? He's hung in there and he's stuck with it, and I think that we're going to see him maybe contend for a win in this category in AM class this season. I mean, he finished. I'm looking back to last season. He finished in 7th position, and he's given Anthony James all Anthony can handle right now. But finished in 7th position, and I want to say he missed 2 races. So,
yeah, and the way our points are structured, it's so important to just keep racing, even if you have a fairly major incident. Just get back out there, because with 50 50 some cars on the track, the difference between a DNF and a recovery drive can mean a lot of points on the table.
It can. And what do we pay? I don't know if you know this up top of your head, but what are we paying down points wise? Does everybody get at least 1 point for being in the race, or does it stop at like 30 positions or something?
No, everybody gets a point down to as many drivers as we have, pretty much, and we do require that you make at least 50% of the leader's laps to earn points. Yeah. So if even if you're running fairly well and you're maybe only a lap down and you DNF out, it's a big fat goose egg if you haven't done half the race.
Yeah. So Wesley tells us back on the chat that he's been training his foot and working on kind of getting back out there. Turn a wheel in anger as soon as possible. Sounds like the ovals, is a fallback if he needs it. So hey, keep at it, keep at it, Wesley.
Guess it was the left knee.
Yeah. It's part of life and getting older. Well, let's take a look here. This is a battle I want to come back to here. Don't let me forget this, Ryan, but we definitely want to come back to this Liam Park, Anthony James battle. These guys, this is a good race, one of the better ones on the track right now. But let's start in reverse order up front. So let's hit the guys that are running up front for the overall win. All 5 of them are in pro. We'll start here with Michael Parker. This is Michael that we ride along with here now. Fantastic looking car. Michael always seems to run something red and white. Loves those colors. Pro athletes like Michael Jordan, Lewis Hamilton are some of Michael's idols, and this is our champion here, and we know that he's going to be in the discussion here again this season. Car change for him though in the Audi. I'm kind of surprised to see him do that. As strong as he ran, wondering what the logic was behind that. Why he would have made a change, Ryan?
I don't know, but you put Michael in anything, he's going to be quick.
Yeah, he just looks great out here. And he's kind of, he's in that spot right now where he's out here by himself. Not a whole lot of pressure from behind. We're about 25 minutes into the race. He can just settle in and run a rhythm. Just ahead of him is Paul Darling. So here's Paul in the Ferrari. We absolutely love having Paul in the series. He's been with CMS a long time and has never allowed himself to get too big for CMS, which is what I love about Paul, and a thank you to him. Paul and David Williams, some of the guys that race on the satellite racing team. These are some of the best drivers in iRacing. But they don't forget their roots of racing with the gentleman group like ourselves, and it's nice to see that, Ryan. I know that's what I enjoy about CMS is that there's a spot out here for everybody, whether you're a beginner or you're someone like Paul.
That's right. We have and we do have a full range of talent, all the way down to I think a rookie driver in tonight.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, well, you'll have to see if you can't find that for me, and we'll have to talk about our rookie who's maybe just getting started on iRacing, and hopefully they're having a good night. While you're looking that up, Ryan, I'll kind of go through the remaining the podium drivers right now, and we've got a battle on our hands here to talk about 2 of them at once. This is DJ Alessandrini and Victor Tanaka covered up together. So this is DJ chasing Victor. And DJ in the BMW, Victor in the Lambo. You can see him just ahead. A little bit of dirt there for DJ as he was using every inch of real estate he could, and had to see the wipers come on. So I'm sure he's going to want a windshield tear off when he comes in. This is the pointy end for sure. Not only in our series, but all these drivers in the front. 4 are 5K or above iRating drivers, so they're where they're supposed to be, up here battling for the win, and already working their way through lap traffic as well. I think that might be Paul Hamilton or one of the ghost cars up ahead of them that they're coming around to lap. We'll see if this creates an opportunity for DJ as he tries to get around Victor. Victor, not a driver, though, that's going to make very many mistakes. And here they are. That is indeed one of the AM cars up ahead of them. I'm not entirely sure who that is. I think it's Paul Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken. And apologies if it's not, but very gentleman move there on their part to let the two of these guys go, knowing that they're battling for second position. But what I'm seeing happen, Ryan, is while Victor and DJ are having this battle, Christian Youngwall has walked off with this thing. He's 3.5 seconds ahead of him right now, and he, is not having to battle, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got clean air and plenty of track to use for whatever line he wants to run.
Yeah. Were you able to find out who our rookie was?
I don't think I see them in the session.
Okay. Well, maybe they wanted to practice a little bit more before getting out here, but hope that we...
Actually, I have to correct myself. It's John Reimerchuk.
Hey, let's see if I can't find John. Where is he out on track? Okay, I see John. Here he is right here in the Mercedes. And so tell me what you know here, Ryan. What do we know about his rookie status here with John? Is he new to the sim? New to sim racing?
I don't know a whole lot about him. He just he signed up last night.
Well, good for John. John's out here. This is a perfect example, like we talked about, of a place for everybody to race. I'm looking here at a little bit of John's data, and yeah, he's a rookie. Yeah, definitely a rookie in the classing, if you will. And has some learning to do. He is, we won't get into his lap times, right? But he's, he's definitely got some learning to do. But he's appears to be holding a nice, steady line, and driving professionally, from what I can tell here. We hopefully we won't jinx him.
No, and that's what's so great about this series, and CMS for that matter, is that we can hold events where we've got everybody on track, and everybody just sort of gets it and is able to get around safely and have a good race.
Yeah, and
wherever they fit in.
Right, and I think that just speaks to kind of the community effort of things. So, welcome, John. Glad to have you out here, and probably if you go back and watch this, or you have any friends or family that are watching, may not have thought that you'd get some airtime, but you did. And looks like one of the Longhorn cars going around him right now, that's Larry Ford, who actually just goes around John. Larry in 40th position. So, gosh, that just speaks to how strong this field is. We've got a seasoned veteran sim racer like Larry, and running a solid race, and he's in 40th position.
Yeah.
His teammate Mike Tyler up ahead in 30th position. So those two are the best of friends, and probably about the two most competitive guys you'll ever find with one another. So Mike getting the bragging rights now, about 10 spots ahead of Larry in the AM class. I want to come back to the battle, though, that we talked about briefly a while back, and that is it hadn't cooled off, Ryan. Look at Liam Park and Anthony James here. They are, you could tie a rope between the two of them here.
Yep. Neither one of them cracking under the pressure.
Yeah, they really aren't. And they are, here's the thing, too, is they have, from what I can tell, run down Zach Sternhagen. So this is Zach just ahead of them here in the Ghost Racing Lamborghini, and Joshua Burke is just ahead of him. So Joshua was our second place qualifier That's Joshua, you can see just ahead of them. So this is a battle. All 5 of these cars you see on the track here right now are battling for position, in the AM category. While Scott Kennedy's kind of walking away with it, these guys are having a heavy battle for second place, right? Which could end up being a win if anything were to happen to Scott, right?
Right.
Looks like we may have had another issue here. Showing coming off pit road here, David Nelson. Did he get in the... I don't think there's an issue here. I think he just may have put a couple of wheels in the dirt. And the sim may have thought he did, but we have had a couple of drivers that have come in for pit stops already. So you talked about some of the guys who have maybe come in early as soon as the window opens. And it looks like the highest running car of that group is this gentleman, Ryan Flanagan. Ryan has already been in for his pit stop, so maybe he went short fuel, currently running in 37th position. But he came in on lap 10. There's a couple of others as well, but most of the others who have been on pit road already has been because they have had some sort of trouble.
Right, and that may affect their pit strategy. The early ones are still going to need another stop, but they may elect to run full fuel and just do a splash and go at the end, or somewhere in between.
Right. All right, so I got to ask the question here. We're back on with Scott Kennedy, and if he chases down and passes Michael Parker, is he going to get called to the trailer by you guys to ask him about AM class?
No, but he would get the additional points for finishing in 5th as opposed to 6th.
Yeah, I mean that in the nicest of ways, of course, right? We do have another. Speaking of the pits, it looks like we've got another driver, Nick Kuhn, indicating maybe coming in for a pit stop. From what I picked up on the radio, let's see if Nick comes into the pits here. He's coming down the long straightaway and into Sunset. So Nick Kuhn, 31st position overall. Let's see if he actually does pull in here. He is. So Ryan, what are we dealing with here? Is this, what are we? We're about halfway through the race, are we not? Or not quite halfway?
Not quite halfway. Pretty close.
Yeah, so Nick now... here in the pits with us. I did not know that Nick was running with Dog Bear. I don't know if that is new or if he was running with Dog Bear already. But this looks like getting it filled up with fuel. I don't know that he's taken tires. Excuse me.
I would suspect not.
Yeah.
I think most drivers are just going to be keeping their first set of tires.
Back here with Michael Parker again as he is trying to hold Scott Kennedy and James Gong at bay. James having one of his better runs of the night. You can see James here in the Mountain Dew car, always stands out. Mountain Dew Porsche, James in 7th position overall tonight, and 6th in class. So this feels to me like, in a good way, James is overachieving a little bit from where we saw him run last season. I think, I tend to remember him running around Liam Park quite a bit, closer to that kind of 15, 18, 20th position overall. But having a solid run here tonight in 7th position.
Definitely.
The other, yeah.
Go ahead, David.
Well, the other thing that we talked about Liam, but we've got, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. We've got two teammates here, Chris Hudson and Drew Lidke, covered up under a blanket, chasing each other around the track here in 9th and 10th place. So you can see the Can-Am Lambo here of Chris Hudson, and then right behind him, the identical Drew Lidke machine with the purple Mopar colors on these cars. So good battle going on here as well for the last two spots in the top 10.
Yep, and I know from the team chatter that we had in Can-Am that keeping that Lambo running this season just seemed like a no-brainer. It's even with the BOP hit that it took, it's still very solid, very stable, and depending on the track, still one of the top contenders.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that too. Staying with a car, at CMS we do a lot with all sorts of sim racing, but especially in iRacing. And one of the things that I get the pleasure of doing is being the team principal for our Champion Motorsports endurance team. And we've got a group of guys that run the GT3 category, and they run in series like VSCA, which is the Virtual Sports Car Association. And we have found that by sticking, in their case, to the BMW GT3, there's something to be said about doing that. And it looks like, as we're talking about these guys, that Chris Hudson actually pulled into the pits to take a pit stop, and Drew Lidke continuing on. So we're definitely seeing quite a few drivers in the pits now. Here's Chris, who we just talked about. We'll follow his stop here while he's in the pits. I'm assuming probably a fuel-only stop. Did not see the car lifted here, Ryan. This is the highest driver to come in and pit so far. Looks like he got it filled up. About 37 minutes left in the race, so Chris heading on back on out. See if the undercut works for him at all. See if he can come back out and, end up being around around Drew Lidke. And while this was happening, I hope I'm wrong on this, but it looks like Joshua Burke may have had an issue. Oh,
those just hurt.
That is a shame. This is a driver that really was contending for the win. Scott Kennedy's race aside, Joshua was contending certainly for a podium in Pro-Am or in the Am class, and unfortunately that has all gone sideways on him now. It looks like Chad Dick has been on pit road. Here's Chad coming off pit road, getting back out. So we're seeing quite a few stops right now by all the drivers. Those that are for certain that are splitting the race up are getting into the pits now and getting back out. While meanwhile up front, we haven't been laser focused on it because Christian Youngwall is making this a boring race, Ryan, up front.
I'm sure he's not bored.
No, he is probably super focused at the moment, wouldn't you think?
I would be.
And I'm going back and looking at last season. So Chris ended up didn't run a full season with us. It looks like he only ran 3 races, but he did have a win. He took the win at Magny-Cours in France, and I believe that was round 4 of the season. So and then also had a 4th place finish the following week at Road Atlanta, but he missed a lot of races. But he's certainly showing from when he did race last year and racing here tonight that he is by all means a championship contending driver.
Yeah, you don't lead a field like this for half the race without having some chops.
Right. We just, I think we might have just seen a position change with Victor Tanaka and Paul Hamilton. Looks like Victor has slipped down to 4th position. And I'm trying to see if something happened to him. Oh, it's a pit stop. So here was Victor coming in. So coming out of 2nd place, this is Victor coming in for his stop. You'll see him come around Sunset, come in. Let's take a watch of his stop here. So this is the first of the front runners, the top 5 to be on pit road. So also trying the undercut, it seems like. See if he gets a nice clean stop. Looks like he is taking tires, Ryan.
Okay.
At least they put the car up on the jack stands. Which whereas, like when Drew Lidke was in and a couple of the other guys, I did not see them up on stands. So it looks like Victor maybe took 2 front tires or something. A fast stop, nonetheless.
Yeah, they do fuel and change tires at the same time.
See, he's back out, going around Tim Collier. Is Tim in the Lambo, or is that a Ferrari that he's in?
I'm not sure.
I'm looking
here. I think he was in the Ferrari.
He is in the Ferrari. Here's Tim in the Ferrari. So he's such a rule breaker.
Yeah. I think he was. I know he was sort of like debating a couple different changes, but I didn't think he stuck with the Ferrari. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So Tim in the Ferrari. Well, back up front, we've got our Audi. Christian Youngwall, got to think he's coming to the pits here soon. But, the top 14 drivers have not pitted yet in the race. So these are the guys that I think if you haven't come in at this point, Ryan, you're running it out of fuel and then you're coming in, for kind of a splash and go strategy.
Yeah.
There are a few of them. Claude Belval is on pit road right now. Anthony James is on pit road right now. I'm looking at some of the pit stops. The fastest pit stop so far that I see seems to have been Victor Tanaka up front with a 47.6 total seconds on the lane. That includes the time in the box. So really solid stop for Victor Tanaka. We'll have to see if that allows him to cut into the Christian Youngwall lead. And I'm looking at Victor on an outlap right now, but the last lap time for Christian Youngwall was a 2:02.98. So we'll have to see kind of what lap time Christian turns compared to Victor. Victor, we'll go back to him here now. Here he is going through turn 1. Victor in 13th position, but he could be the leader. And you can see him doing a little bit of light flashing here. He knows that he's probably needing to set as fast as laps as possible to make up as much time on Christian for the undercut strategy.
Yeah, if he's going to get out ahead and stay ahead.
Okay, DJ Alessandrini, it looks like maybe coming to pit road. Heard over the radio that he might be coming in, so let's watch this. Here he is coming down the long straightaway. Go into Sunset. Car on the inside of him doesn't necessarily know he's coming to the pits, but he does. Let's see what sort of a pit stop we get here. DJ took an odd line coming into the pits. But I think it could have been a faster line. He was sort of just kept it really tight. He's going up on the stands as well. Looks like maybe he's doing something similar, Ryan. You could see some of these guys that are so quick up front, they might be taking just the fuel they need plus maybe 2 tires, is what I'm wondering.
Yeah. I know last season it was a bit of a gamble. Well, not a gamble, but a strategy, depending on what the track and what your tire wear was looking like. But it wasn't necessarily quicker taking tires, even though it didn't cost you any time in the pits.
Right. All right, well, we'll keep an eye on when Christian Youngwall, Paul Darling, Michael Parker come in, which I'm expecting them any minute. But maybe while they're doing that, let's try to touch on a few drivers we don't normally or haven't had an opportunity to talk about tonight and give them a shout out. We'll start here with Peter Hebron. Peter in the Mercedes. Looks like 41st position right now. Love the paint scheme on this thing. And love Peter's dedication to the group. Love seeing him out here. And looks like he's having a solid run. Peter's had some bad luck in some of the races too, Ryan. This is another driver that always, though, doesn't let it get him down.
That's right. And, yeah, he's such a great member of the community. He's just the definition of a class act.
Absolutely. Another driver that's having a really solid run tonight. And we saw kind of at the end of last season had a couple of really solid runs is Mike Tyler. So we ride along here with Mike Tyler. Mike having a really solid run, 35th position overall. I think that might be sniffing the top 10 in the AM class as well. I'll see if I can get a quick count on this. Let's see. We've got... Not quite. He's certainly within the top 15 in AM class, but Mike having a good race. And we have seen some of the leaders here. So I'm going to come back here quickly. We've got, I believe, some of the top guys making their way through the pits here. So Christian Youngwall has been in and out. He's in 4th position shown on the track, and he is ahead of the guys that he was battling there. So managed to stay out front of both DJ Alessandrini and Victor Tanaka, as well as Paul Darling. So our 3 guys out front now, the current race leader is James Gong, but James has not been into the pits. This is what we believe to be the leader, the rightful leader, if you will, and that's Christian Youngwall. But nonetheless, let's give it to him while we can. Hey, leading at Sebring, here's James Gong. Give him the airtime, right, Ryan?
Absolutely.
Let's see if he's going to come in here. He's got to be getting close to coming in, and he is. So James will pull off. We'll see where JT Tammy is. JT Tammy currently in 2nd place. We're going to see if JT comes to the pits. He does. And so then that brings up our 3rd place driver, which is Mark Nister. And all 3 of them are on pit road right now. So that's going to hand the lead here back to Christian Youngwall. And Christian coming down the front stretch. This is, he did what he needed to. He got in, got the pit stop he needed, maintained. In fact, I think he might have grown his lead slightly over DJ, Paul Darling, Tanaka, and Scott Kennedy. But I have noticed that's something to call out. He did just what we thought he would do, Ryan, and that is Scott Kennedy managed to get out ahead of Michael Parker. So this is our AM leader in 5th position overall now. Oh, and just about a wreck happening in front of him there.
Yikes.
Who is this? Let's go back.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, what in the world? That's the 290 car of David Kaufman. Let's just back this up here.
I can see some tire tracks there.
Yeah, I can too. We're just going to keep rewinding. This almost looks like some sort of a hardware. No, you know what? I think I see what happened here.
Yeah.
We're gonna pause it. We're gonna get behind him in I don't know. What do we think? Some sort of a chase cam. Yeah, and let's just watch this here. He's gonna get 2 wheels on the grass, and then he's along for the ride. Right as this happens, we picked it up because you're gonna. Boy, this is where the Scott Kennedy goes right by him on the inside. You can see Scott's car going off. Boy, he was just along for the ride, and he's still trying to get a hold of this thing.
Just about went spearfishing there.
Yeah, so... Boy, I don't know what... It's like almost like he just couldn't get it slowed down, right?
Yeah, I didn't see brake lights, so it looked like he was trying to, hoping to sort of rejoin parallel, but then realized he didn't have the grip.
Yeah, and that's always a risky thing, so could have been a whole lot worse, David. So next time, put those 2 feet in the brake and and live to survive another. Is that he would not be feeling good had he taken out Scott Kennedy, the AM leader, right there.
No,
would not have been a good thing for him, for his ego, right? Of course, we know it would have just purely been a mistake, an accident. But Scott Kennedy, I mean, this is, arguably, it's hard to. Christian Youngwall would have something to say about it, but Scott Kennedy having really, arguably the drive of the race here. He is dominating the AM class. He finds himself now 11 positions physically on the track ahead of second place, which is Zach Sternhagen. So, in fact, we'll pick this up a little bit just to give you an appreciation of kind of the gap he has. This is Scott coming around Sunset down to the start-finish line, and all the way back here, still not even on the long straightaway, is the second-place car of Zach Sternhagen. But shout out to Zach. Zach having a solid run. But Scott's just kind of in a class of his own tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, this is his race to lose at this point. He's been putting on a real good show.
Yeah, he's been just fantastic. So no real, big battle up front. The guys are spread out a little bit. Victor Tanaka and Paul Darling being the only exception to that. That's the 2 of them here. You can see this is for 3rd and 4th position. So this is probably our best race on the track of the front runners. And Paul Darling managed to get ahead of Victor on the pit stops. So even though Victor had a solid pit stop, the other guys had a little bit better pit stop. And Paul Darling now has moved onto the podium. So we've got Paul, DJ Alessandrini, and Christian up front. So, but we'll have to see if Victor can have anything where he can dig and go run Paul down. That's going to be no easy task, certainly. No,
I think Victor might have it in him, though.
Yeah, he certainly might.
We have a question from Dooley Lama here in the Twitch chat, asking, with Pro and Am drivers, the top 10 of Am drivers being in 30th plus position, do some drivers just not run the Pro-Am classification? So, if I understand your question right, everybody does run either in Pro or in Am, but the way that we've split up the points is that everybody is competing for the same points. So, if a Am driver finishes in 9th place and a Pro driver finishes in 10th place, the Am driver will pick up those extra points. So it's still in everybody's best interest to race everybody else on the track, but we've just split it up into those 2 championships to sort of give everybody a chance to run with some competitive drivers.
Yeah, and that, it's I think that's really creative. And that, by the way, that was a great question. We love to get questions like that, from anybody that's tuning in. Thanks for engaging with us and asking those sorts of questions. But like a good example of that is we continue to ride on here with Victor Tanaka. But if we go over to Scott Kennedy, who we've talked a lot about tonight, this is Scott. He's and the differentiating factor that you can use is you can see the drivers with the 200 numbers. Anyone with a 200 number, or a 2, in front of the number, triple digits, is going to be an Am driver. And so Scott on the track right now is in 5th position. Whereas if we go to the position behind him, this is the car directly behind him in the standings, James Gong. He's there. Scott will score more points than James will, although they're not racing each other in the championship. But I like that. I think it rewards these AM drivers and it really allows them to create some separation when they do really, really well and maybe overachieve, Ryan.
Totally. And, sometimes just racing slow and steady can, net you some spots.
Right. Or, you can be an AM driver. I don't recall who it was off the top of our head, but last season we had a driver who just said, Daytona was really, really, really a strong track for them. And, but it had it, I think they mentioned to us, don't expect to see me up here again, at Spa, or whatever. This is like
Right.
this is my favorite track, and all those sorts of things. So, yeah. Anyhow, it looks like we had a couple of drivers that were latecomers to the pits. This is David Nelson coming back out on the track. Late pit stop, maybe didn't get the fuel right. And so we are seeing a little bit of that. We've got a really good battle here. We talked about James Gong. He's ahead of Michael Parker here now. So I don't know. I didn't catch this, Ryan, if this was a pass on the track or a change in the pits. But Michael Parker here now, you can see chasing James Gong. Wonder, Michael can't be happy with this, right? I know he's in 7th position, but he's lost a couple of positions to guys that he probably thinks he shouldn't be losing positions to. So I wonder if could this be part of the adjusting to the Audi, right?
Yeah, I think the first couple of races of the season with the car changes, I'm sure we'll see a little bit of a shakeup in the guys as they sort of wrangle their new hardware.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and by the way, we're talking about that through the lens of Michael, but you can see James Kong just ahead of him. This is a top 5 run for James, and I mean he's got to be ecstatic with this performance. I'm looking at James last season. His biggest issue was consistency. James finished 17th in the points. When he ran well, he had really strong races at Red Bull Ring and Motegi, but he had some really challenging races, and a couple of races where he did not score points. So he's off to just a super strong start tonight. Really happy with the drive James has given us.
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, the other driver that we talked a little bit about, who is showing that they're taking that next step, is JT Tammy. JT in 9th position here, and let's get on board as we always like to do with the amazing GT40. But up 12 positions tonight, Ryan, is JT Tammy. So I'd say he's turning the corner on this Ford. We didn't see him regularly this high up, last season. Even though he finished in the points really well, I think he was 5 or 6 positions, back from where he is, in a lot of the races.
Right. It was really good to watch the progression that he had. Getting to learn the car and finishing better overall as the season went on. Yeah. So I'm really curious to see what we're going to see out of JT in a second season here now that he's had that testing time under his belt, so to speak.
Right, I agree. It looks like he's got a little bit of a wrinkle on the car. Boy, just as I say that, he got loose as all get out there in Sunset. And it looks like Mark Nister's going to go around him. This is a battle for position, Ryan, so this is one hell of a race here between these two side by side. Porsche versus Ferrari, two guys that are super talented here, and neither one of them is going to want to give here. This is a tremendous fight for 9th position. And is Mark going to get it? JT's going to make him earn it. Now Mark gets loose.
Mark leaving no inch of the track plus a little bit of grass.
Wow. And, we can't bring everything to everyone. We're jumping around with 58 drivers out here. There's so many different things we want to talk about. And I'm sure we're missing battles like this all over the place. But, boy, isn't it nice when we catch one where they kind of, we see JT bobble coming through sunset. Then we see this happen. And by the way, Drew Lidke has something to say about this thing. Here he comes sniffing this battle. This is a three-way battle here of 3 veteran drivers that are, all 3 of them want this spot. Boy, pick your poison here. I don't know that you could bet wrong on any of these guys, Ryan.
No. Yeah, race 1, 75-minute race. The strategy definitely is, put as many points up on the board as you possibly can. Don't want to take too many big risks at this point, but at the same time, you can't be just giving it to these guys because they will run away with it.
Yeah, they will. And these guys, I mean, this is this battle here, I know these guys are loving this because, and boy, Drew just about loses it.
Whoa, yeah.
I tell you, the deal with this as well is that these 3 drivers are veterans of CMS. They're veterans of the series. This is the benefit of racing in a league. They know each other. They trust each other, and so they're able to know that they're going to be able to race each other hard and lay it all out there, and they know who the other guy is in the car. And so you can see him just really dicing it up here. Oh, and JT loses it, and he's around, Ryan.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
No damage, but that's going to hurt.
That is going to hurt. That's got to hurt. And we gave him the broadcast curse. And Mark Nister drives off. He's got a little bit of a gap now as they go around a lap car. Love the Martini Porsche paint scheme. Never get tired of looking at that thing, do you?
Not for a second.
That's a classic. JT falling back. Let's see if he's going again. He is. No harm, no foul there, but man, we enjoyed it while it lasted. All right, I want to run through the field here. We'll start again with the Pro-Am class. I'm going to go run through the top 5 for us, maybe even hit the top 10 quickly if we can here, Ryan. So let's do that now. Scott Kennedy needs no introduction tonight. We've talked about him a lot. He is dominating this race in the AM category in 5th position overall in the race. He is being chased by Zach Sternhagen and Zach in a heck of a battle. This is for the 2nd and 3rd position here with Zach Sternhagen and Joshua Burke. So we start to go through the field, and the first thing we find is that here's 2 more cars, hammer and tong, Ryan. We want to get through the top 10, but we may have to sit here and watch this for a minute. Good problem to have, right?
There's just any camera angle you look at, there's something going on.
Yeah. And, we know Burke had an issue, right? He had an issue. We saw him into the wall and had to obviously take a fast repair, and he's already back up to 2nd. So I got to think he's probably a little bit quicker than Zach is, and looks like he may be setting Zach up here for the pass as we speak. Let's watch this. I have a feeling he's going to send it on him down here into 1. Yeah, here he goes. He's going to the inside. Zach probably is smart enough to know he's beaten here, and he is. Yeah, and Josh is going to take that battle. So Zach back into 3rd position. Let's go on back a little bit further. Here's Dewey Kang. Ryan, I don't know that I know Dewey, and I don't know that we've talked about him tonight, so let's talk about him now. Anything you know about this driver?
Honestly, not a great deal. He's fairly new with us, but really glad to have him, and no idea what he's going to be capable of.
Yeah, well, I would say off to a fantastic start. So Dewey looking really good here, 16th position overall, and that is 4th position in the Pro-Am class, and then right behind him. So welcome, Dewey, to the series. Glad to have you. Right behind him in the standings is our 5th place machine of Liam Park. So Liam having another really, really solid run. And he's actually ahead of his teammate, who's one of the pro drivers, Chris Hudson. And then you can see Tim Collier, all 3 of the Can-Am cars. Tim is quite a bit down. He's multiple laps down behind these guys. But all 3 of them, at least for a photo op, out here on the track together with Liam kind of rounding out that top 5. So solid run for Liam. And, bragging rights-wise, Liam's got to be feeling really good about being ahead of Chris at the moment.
Oh, definitely. Chris just finished up a weekend of racing in VIR, and posted some photos of his time there.
That's fantastic. Yeah, Chris does a lot of real world stuff in his own car, and VIR, one of his favorite tracks. I think his home track. So fantastic to see that. We'll go back a little bit further. Here's Christian Rava. We've not talked about Christian tonight. Christian having a really strong run in 6th position overall, so I want to give him a shout out. We'll go to Chad Dick, who's just behind him on the track. These 2 are battling for position. So another really fantastic run. We'll go back a little bit further, and they're all 3 on the same straightaway. This is where you pick up Jeffrey Adams. So that's kind of what's going on in the AM class here, and I think we might actually see here in real time, a move happening where Chad Dick is going to try to make a position here. I can see he's really pushing on Christian Rava. Looks like Christian's struggling a little bit. Maybe the tire's getting long in the tooth, and Chad is all over him. Thinking he's going to try to send it on him down here into the chicane.
Yeah.
Or the hairpin. Yeah, and he does. Christian almost just gave it to him.
Well, he might have realized he's been pushing his tires hard for a couple laps, and they're starting to get pretty slick.
Yeah. So while that's been happening, let's get back up front. So Michael Parker did get back on his horse as soon as he heard us talking about him struggling. He got back up on his horse, and he got around James Gong. So this is our fifth place driver in pro. I'm going to work backwards a little bit, and then we'll cover the front 4. But we want to catch as many drivers as we can. So James Gong just behind Michael. John, we've talked quite a bit about James tonight. John Majorbanks, we've not talked a whole lot about John, but John's had a quiet and really good race. He is in the 8th position overall, 7th in the pro class. Mark Nister, just behind him, having a solid run. We saw the battle with Mark and Drew Lidke just behind him here. As there's some smoke on the track ahead of Drew. Looks like a car had a lockup. And then the last 2 we'll hit here in pro category, kind of rounding out the top 10, is Claude Belval. We've not talked about Claude tonight, Ryan, but this is a driver that has shown a lot of promise. And I want to say he started in maybe AM class last year and moved up to pro voluntarily or something, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he might have been voluntold along with the other guys, but yeah, he was definitely quick and earned himself a spot in pro.
And it started off really strong. He kind of struggled a little bit towards the end of the season and had some finishes that just I know he wasn't probably really happy with. But just behind him, we talked about him earlier. I know there's some fans out there watching. Here's Richard Hibbs. So Richard Hibbs is all over Claude. To secure this solid top 10 in the overall race. So this is a really strong battle here with Richard in 12th position overall. Just right all over Claude. So, and I think we've had an issue, unfortunately, here. Let's see here what happened. Ryan, this is not going to be good, I don't think. Oh. Mark Nister, not good. Let's go back and watch this again from a little bit different angle. What happens here, Ryan? Oh, that's not good.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure who that other driver was, but they got on the inside of Mark. And that is not... Let's see if Mark's coming to the pits here. No, he keeps it going. Looks like maybe the car was not hurt as bad as I thought it was. But Mark can't be happy about that. Okay, as promised, here's our top 4. We've got just a few minutes left here in the race, so we're going to focus the rest of the time on them. And we've got Paul Darling in 4th place. He actually did end up getting passed by Victor Tanaka. So you talked about Victor and whether or not Victor was up for it, and he certainly was. Not only was he up for it, Ryan, but now he is all over DJ Alessandrini, who's just ahead of him. This is a battle for position we're seeing here as they go around the rookie. So the rookie we talked about earlier in the race is did a fantastic job. Kudos to John Reimertruck for letting him around safely there. That had to be a pucker moment for John.
Might have had some white knuckles, yeah.
But you know what? John handled that beautifully. He really did. So shout out to John. He held his line. He was predictable. He was right where he needed to be. And, that's a rookie amongst 2 pro-class drivers in the true sense. But this is probably, the best battle on the track as far as the front runners go with these 2. And we're gonna follow it, come back to it after we just give one quick look here. And, of course, we'll make sure to get the checkered flag, assuming nothing changes for Christian Youngwall. But Christian, with a 5-second lead, Ryan has just dominated this race.
Oh, yeah.
He has just dominated it, and he's already lapping all the way down to 25th position. That's Kevin Ayers, who he's going around now. So he's physically lapped more than half of the field here tonight. All right, here they are. You have a prediction with these 2?
No. I think Victor's going to give him a run for it, for sure. It's going to be maybe a photo finish here.
Yeah, here they are taking the white flag, so let's just go ahead and stick with this. Definitely be sure that we pick up Christian Youngwall. We'll make sure that we get him as what looks to be our ultimate winner here. We're going to see if Victor takes the risk.
Yeah, if I'm Victor, I'm going to bide my time, probably make the move. What do you think, final corner?
Yeah, maybe so. I think so, yeah.
Send it up the straight and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. See if you can draft him up the straightaway and then just pinch him some sort of way. Maybe to the inside, try to send it in there on the final corner. Of course, DJ is, he's going to know that.
Yep.
With his skill level. But boy, he is all over him. DJ driving a protective line.
Yeah, making that car nice and wide. Boy, this is some great racing.
It really is. Just enjoying watching it. Oh, DJ with a little bit of a bobble. Here it goes. He's going to try the move here. Couldn't quite make it happen, so they come down the long straightaway. Let's briefly go ahead. We'll keep an eye on this. Briefly ahead here is our leader, Christian Youngwall, coming through Sunset. So we're going to just let Christian get through Sunset, know that he's safe, and then let's get right back here. It looks like Victor bobbled. He did. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened, Ryan. The moment we went off to, I'm wondering if he just tried, I'm going to rewind here, if he just tried to take too much of it here out of this when he made the move and just lost momentum. I'm thinking that's what happened. It was right here. Christian DJ shut the door on him, and I think he just lost his momentum.
Yeah, he had to back out of that one.
Yep. All right, Scott Kennedy Let's watch Scott come around here. This is our eventual winner here in the AM category. We're going to stick here with Scott. He's had a tremendous race. 5th position overall, making his way around the track. And I am seeing Michael Parker in 23rd place. Ryan, let's get Scott here to the finish line, and then I think we're going to have to see what happened to Michael Parker. I'm thinking he had to pit. Maybe ran out of gas.
Oh, that would be something.
Well, or either that or he crashed. We're about to find out here. So kudos to Scott Kennedy. Here's what happened with Michael Parker. He's battling Scott Kennedy. So we're going back. Oh, and Michael loses it.
Oh, yeah.
And what happens here? You know what? I think he beached it, Ryan. He beached it. Look at this. Oh, what a letdown. He can't move. He's stuck. Ryan, I think he's going to have to tow.
Yep.
And he did.
That's a heartbreaker.
He did. What a heartbreaker for Michael Parker. And wow, what a race. Man, I don't know about you, but that was never a dull moment.
No, but my heart rate is up just from watching it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Let's do a quick rundown here. We'll start with the top 10 overall. Christian Youngwall is our winner tonight at Sebring. DJ Alessandrini in 2nd position. Victor Tanaka brings home P3. Paul Darling, P4. 5th position overall and 1st place in the AM class, Scott Kennedy. James Gong, 2nd place. 6th place, and rounding out the top 5 in pro category. John Majorbanks in 7th overall. Drew Lidke in 8th with a fantastic run. Claude Belval in 9th, and we talked about him earlier. He had some fans out there. Richard Hibbs, all about the Hibbs man, bringing home a really solid 10th place finish, 9th place in class in the pro category. So, Ryan, what a race.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
If this is what the rest of the season is going to be like, I'm here for it. Well, I'm going to be here for it anyway, but I'm extra here for it.
You and me both. Shout out to Joshua Burke for 2nd position in the AM class. Zach Sternhagen rounds out the podium. These are all unofficial, of course. Dewey King in 4th position in the AM class, and Liam Park in the top 5. So we'll have to see if we've got a visitor or two to join us. We'll have to see if some of the winners make their way here, and we can grab them for an interview. Otherwise, you and I will just try to get a hold of ourselves after that.
Yeah. Not seeing any of the winners in the chat, but definitely really, really amazing race. A hell of a way to start the season. I can't wait to see what comes next.
Yeah, I can't either. And speaking of that, what do we have to look forward to, Ryan, next week and maybe the next couple of races?
So many things. Let me just give you a rundown here. So next week, March 29th, we're in for 60 minutes in Hungary. And then the week after that, we're in Barcelona.
Oh, fantastic. Some really good tracks. And I do see now that we have at least one of our top finishers in the chat. So let me see if I can grab him. Let's go get Victor Tanaka, Ryan, and if I can get him in here, I'll let you say hi to him. And I see Scott Kennedy is around as well. All right, let's see if we can get Victor in here.
Hello.
Hey, Victor. Welcome. Just want to congratulate you on that heck of a battle you had there. We were watching it, especially at the end there. Some fantastic stuff. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, I'm still trying to take a breath after that one. Yeah, I'm not sure, how much you guys kept an eye on that battle there for, P2 and P3 for the podium there. But like that went on all race long, like since lap 1, and we just never let go. Like a full 75 minutes of qualifying pace, and just like just trying to stay within the draft. We swapped position there a couple of times. I tried something different in the pit stops there, but yeah, that was a tough race for sure.
Oh yeah, we saw kind of throughout, but especially towards the end, we were just glued. Once we once P1 was in the bag, we just couldn't take our eyes off you guys. So what happened there? It looked like you made a move, one of the second last turn or so, that didn't quite stick, and then did you just lose your momentum after that and didn't have anything for it? Or
Yeah, are you talking about on the on the white flag?
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I knew that DJ always took that entry really wide there. Um, I forgot the name of that corner. I think it's turn 14. I'm not good with corner numbers, but yeah. So he always took a very wide entry, so staying like to the left of that curb on the left hand there, going really wide. And he was much better than me on that particular corner, especially on the exit. So I knew I wouldn't have the pace to go for a dive on into Sunset Bend. So I just had it up to go for that move there on the inside, and he just played it very well. He kept me very tight. He turned in early. He kept me tight, and I had to I had to stay on the brakes a little longer than I wanted to, just not to hit him. I'm the one making the move, so I have to be the responsible one to make sure that there's no contact. So I had to stay on the brakes a little longer there, which like made me kind of like lose the rear. So I had to go into complete like save mode just to make sure that I at least hung on to P3.
Right. Well, man, that was so good to watch. Really glad to see you fighting up at the front and putting on a really good show for us.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, like that race went wrong. Like from lap 1, I tried to hang around the outside there of Christian. And I was on the wrong spot on the track. Like DJ made a very good job of sticking to the inside. So I got down to P3. Had a little bit more pace than him, so I was able to catch him. He was nice enough to let me go. And that strategy kind of worked out for a little bit. We were kind of catching Christian in some spots in the race there. And then like Christian just took a gamble on the fuel because he gained up like 3 seconds on us. So he was definitely shorter on fuel if we went the extra lap. And it was very close because I think he crossed the line with like a minute 55 or something. So like 3 more seconds and it would have been an extra lap. So he gambled and it paid off. I'm not sure if he didn't take tires. I'm assuming he did because he was pretty fast at the end. But or maybe he took like 2 or 3 tires or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like.
Yep.
Yeah. So my strategy worked. I at least I stayed in front of DJ, but then Paul undercut us because I think that he also like went short on fuel, and he came out right there like right next to me. I eased off. I tried to make it too wide into turn 3, and DJ so damn good at racecraft. He stuck to the inside and he made a double pass. I'm not sure if you guys caught that, but he made a double pass into the hairpin, which was just crazy.
Yeah, it was really going to be fun watching you guys battle, and we certainly enjoyed it, Victor. And great drive tonight. Seems like you are like us, having to wind down after that, right? But definitely hope to see you get to do it again next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my right leg is completely done. I need to put my feet up here for a good hour or so. But yeah, that was a very exciting racing, and I hope to be back next week, and I'll try to make it every race this season. So try to go for that championship.
Awesome. Well, wish you the best of luck, Victor, and thanks for joining us here in the chat.
Sounds good. Have a good one, guys. Thank you for the broadcast.
Okay, good night.
All right, I'm going to see if we can bring in Scott Kennedy here. Scott, do you have a copy?
Hey guys, I got you. Can you hear me?
Wow, yes we do, and we talked about you constantly tonight. First of all, we love your paint scheme.
Hey, thank you. I got to give it up to my team for that. They put it together. Yeah, I love it too. Looks great.
Yeah, and you backed it up, looked good, drove well, and if anything, we got to ask you what got into you there. Were you sandbagging? Do we need to reclass you, or is this your home track? What's the deal? It was a fantastic drive. We were really proud of you.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've put more laps into Sebring than anywhere else by far. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I put a lot of laps into Sebring. I ran the majors race earlier a couple months ago, and just to like the track, but some a lack of practice last season. So getting a little more practice in here. Switched over from the Ferrari to the Audi, which I feel a little more comfortable in, and we should be in the pro class. I think.
Well,
you set up tonight, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, you certainly drove a fantastic race. Didn't put a wheel wrong. Started from the front, finished in the front, and we really enjoyed it. It was just a clinic that you put on, and against a strong field. Even finished ahead of some of the front runners in the pro class from last season. So enjoy this, and will we see you in the 12 hours of Sebring with iRacing this weekend?
Oh yeah, Dog Bear is going to put out a team. I think we got 4 drivers, so I don't know what split we're running or which time slot, but we'll be there for sure.
Well, you'll have to
look Audi again. So
yeah, well, we will. You'll have to let us know how it goes, and congrats tonight on a great run.
Yeah, we'll do. Hey, thanks guys. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the rest of the season.
Right on. Thank you very much, Scott, and congrats.
All right, let's see if we can bring in Christian Youngwall. Ryan, I'll let you kick it off with Christian, our overall winner.
Hey, Christian, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Congratulations, sir. That was a very impressive finish with a field this competitive.
Thank you very much. It was definitely not an easy race. I mean, I was watching the leaderboard every single lap to see what DJ, Victor, and Paul were doing, because they seemed like they were having the battle of their lives.
Oh, we could see it. They were duking it out. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah, I look forward to going back and seeing their race too, because I mean, after the first, I think, turn 5 or so, I mean, I had almost a 2-second gap on the first lap, which was just unbelievable in competition like this. So I think I was just sort of gifted this one.
Yeah, such a big deal just being able to get that gap early, hey, and put in some clean laps.
Yeah, the Audi's definitely a good hot lap car, but it doesn't necessarily have the straight line speed. So when it comes to like the BMW or Paul and the Ferrari, I mean, I think if it was a 1v1 down the back straight, I think they'd have me every time. So I'm just happy I got out that gap long enough that I didn't have to worry about them stealing any draft off me, or luckily they didn't jump me in the pits. I had a low enough fuel that I made the whole thing, didn't have to worry about it. It seemed like we all had around the same pit time, so it seems like we all ran the same strategy.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to us. There were a few that jumped in early, but for the most part, everybody was within a pretty narrow window there.
Yeah, I saw Victor jump in about 3 laps or something early, but I know at this track, if you could run low fuel, you could really take advantage. So you want to really go to the last drop here just to get anything, even though I think Victor was actually faster than me a little bit this race, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, it was a fantastic drive, Christian. Will we get the opportunity to see you run for the championship this season, or what's your schedule going to look like?
I'm hoping I could be around for more of these. These were fun. I only got to do a couple last season, but I mean, every race was pretty enjoyable. There seems to be tons of us showing up, and having a whole field like this, just a lot of fun to just see everything and, watch back the broadcast a little bit and just kind of see a bunch of guys come together and just enjoy some racing.
It's really cool. We talked about that a lot tonight. If you go back and check the broadcast when you get an opportunity, we had drivers like yourself, who are, really seasoned pros at this stuff. And then we had a rookie tonight who was running his first race, and he was in the action, and did a remarkable job. So of holding his line, and that's what we love about CMS, is that we kind of have a group here that's so community driven that we can get guys from different backgrounds and skill levels and still put on generally a good race.
Yeah, definitely fun. Yeah, I mean, for his first race, he didn't seem, well, at least for me, he always seemed to do the right thing. He pulled out of the way, didn't do anything, well, from what I think I know, he didn't do anything too crazy, but seems like everyone just, even when you have an incident, it just sort of happens to carry on, but everyone seems to just enjoy racing each other, and it just seems like just a good series overall.
Well, really glad to hear it, Christian, and I hope that you're able to make as many races as you can this season, because we really enjoy watching you out there.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Christian, have a good night. Congrats on the win. Big accomplishment tonight. 58 cars. These are not easy to come by, and we hope to get a chance to talk to you again.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
You too. Ryan, let's bring in one more for the night, and let's see if I can't talk to DJ here.
Hello.
DJ, second time in less than a week that we're talking to you on a broadcast here at CMS. What is
Look at
that? Fantastic. Great run tonight. Tell us about it. How did it go down from your perspective?
I think I might have been able to have something for Christian, but I've actually never driven the BMW on Sebring before. And my other league that I participate on Wednesday finished like just in time for me to hop into quali. So qualifying was my practice. So luckily I had a good start. But by the time I figured out like how to extract speed out of that car on that track, just Christian was just so far ahead. There was nothing I really could have done at that point.
Well, man, I tell you what, you're making us all look bad, right, with getting out there and doing that type of stuff. But boy, I tell you what, just a top talent. You had one hell of a race on Sunday at Laguna Seca with damage on the car, and then backed it up here tonight with another fantastic run. I know you were DJ. Apologies. Kind of in and out of the series last year. Will we see you a little bit more regularly this time around if we're fortunate enough to?
It's like I said in the interview on Sunday, with the winter ending and summer kind of kicking off, it's going to be kind of just real racing season. So if I'm going to jump into the races, I can, but the real racing is going to take precedence. So like next week, I'm going to be traveling down to Carolina Motorsports Park to go racing. So.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about, for those that may not know what you do, tell us a little bit about some of the real-life stuff that you're involved in.
I race in a series called Grid Life Touring Cup. Mm-hmm. So we race, it's 4 races for the weekend. It's like a little mini points championship for each weekend. The races are short. They're only like 15 minutes long. It's a single-make racing series. It's wheel-to-wheel. There's normally anywhere from 40 to 60 cars on track, and everyone's in the same class. So there's no multi-class racing. There's no, like, if somebody's getting lapped, they know that like they're not in the race. They just get out of the way. You don't run into that like slow driver and fast car like interrupting a race. The race is short enough where lap traffic really doesn't come into play, and it's just really intense. There's a broadcast. I mean, just search GLTC. If you want to see me win some races, search GLTC Mid-Ohio. And yeah, it's just I think it's the best series to participate in like a grassroots level, because it's single make and because there's so many people. No matter what your pace is, you're going to be racing against somebody. Unfortunately, most club racing is you start the race, everyone separates, and then you're just doing HPDE all by yourself. But
right.
But Grid Life has figured out a way where everyone can race somebody on track, and I think being able to race against people that are similar speed to you, whether it's through better car prep or similar car prep, same skill level, whatever it is, having somebody next to race, it means you're going to get better at racing. If you're just doing laps, then you're not going to be as proficient at racing. And GLTC, it's 15 minutes of, like, it's just as intense as a European split in iracing. Like, it's just, like, people are so good. They're so accurate, and they expect you to be just as good and accurate. So you're really forced to elevate where you're at as a driver and where you're at as a racer.
Well, that's just fantastic. We'll definitely have to watch you and encourage our members to do so. And we love the things that the Grid Life guys are doing. We think the world of like Tom O'Gorman and and some of the folks involved with all that. It's really amazing to see how that's all taken off. Can remember racing with Tom, Michael Parker, and myself, and some others that, Michael was in the race here tonight, did a lot of SCCA, like national autocross stuff. And it's just such a small world, and it's great to see so many phenomenal options, both virtual and in real life here. It's a great time to be a racer, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it really is such a small community. I mean, I got my start autocrossing, and then I was lucky to be given a free race car at some point. That's a story for another day. But and then I went wheel to wheel racing. My car is currently dead. It died in a crash at Road America. So the car I'm going to be driving this upcoming weekend. You might have seen Mitch Marhefka driving around tonight. Mm-hmm. He's lending me his car to go racing in GLTC. So he has a K-swapped Miata that probably won't be that competitive in the rules, but I'm gonna be dicing it up. I'm gonna see what it can do.
Yeah, well, enjoy it. Yeah, and we did see Mitch out there. We didn't get a chance to talk. He didn't have the race you had tonight, but it was good to have him out there. And huge field tonight, 58 cars. So to finish where you did in P2 was no small feat. Great job.
Thanks. Yep, thanks guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, DJ, we will talk to you hopefully again, and good luck with the real stuff coming up here soon, and we'll see you out on the track.
Yep. See you guys around.
Take care.
See you, DJ.
Yeah. So Ryan, wow, what a night! What a way to start the season. I am, I think I'm gonna have to go take a cold shower or something after this.
Yeah, had to wipe some sweat off my brow.
Yeah, really enjoyed it, and enjoyed being back in here with you. I know that you and I have talked about doing as many of these as we can, and we'll just try to enjoy doing them the same way we did last season. As much as I'd like to be out there racing, and I know you would too, I think that we get the best view of this whole thing and get to kind of really see it from a unique lens.
Oh, definitely. These are the best seats in the house.
Absolutely. Well, all right, everybody, we're going to wrap up tonight, and as we do that, before we go off the air, it just would not be right if we didn't give a huge thanks to our friends Darren and team at simrace247.com. They help us bring these races. They co-publish all of our recaps and articles on their website. They help us get the field that we have here, so give them a look, bookmark them in your browser or on your phone, and fantastic site for great sim racing and community news at simrace247.com. We also want to thank all of our drivers as well as administrative staff that puts these races on, Ryan, Tim Collier and their team, and everybody that participates. Also, such a great time to be not only in iRacing, but iRacing here at Champion Motorsports. We have our iRacing Team Endurance Series, which is the sister series for this Sprint Series. That is on Sunday afternoons. The races are about once a month. The next one is on April 30th at Fuji. We still have the opportunity to add a few teams. We're at capacity, but we're grateful enough to be able to offer with our sponsors a couple of more teams that may want to get in for round 2 at Fuji. So grab a buddy and or two and get out there with us in IRTES. All of the details for this series, for the Sprint Series, and everything we talk about are available at cmsracing.com, where you can also check our link to our Discord and get involved in our community. And I'll wrap up for Ryan and I by just saying, wow, it's fantastic that we can see, 6,000 I-rating driver like DJ Alessandrini and a rookie on the track tonight, John Reimerchuk, in his first race, who, by the way, finished ahead of 10 or 11 other drivers. So a shout out to John. Hopefully somebody we get a chance to talk to as well in the future. So, Ryan, I think until next time, we're done.
Sounds good to me. Can't wait.
Yeah, same here. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.